Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels.
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
We promise Lauren Brooks is doing okay. Still on the reserve injured list, still on the DL. Could any Jaguars be joining her? That remains to be seen. We'll hit the injury report brought to you by Fair and Fair coming up in just a little bit. Welcome into a Sunshine Turf Friday here on Helmets and Heels. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, we are with you until 4 p.m. today. Our thanks to the boys of XL Primetime for playing a little shuffle game with us and for holding down the fort at the Florida, Georgia, Florida Hall of Fame lunch. And I got to tell you, Taylor Dahl, I was posting a clip this morning on our social channels, and so I tagged the official account. Mm-hmm. The handle is still FL versus GA. I don't want to start the conversation, start the fighting with you dog fans, but I'm just saying, the Twitter account, the official page, it still says Florida, Georgia.
I always say it just sounds weird saying Georgia, Florida, and I don't know if it's because of like the alphabetical thing. I don't know. Or maybe just we're so used to here in Jacksonville saying Florida, Georgia, no matter what year it is. But every time I say Georgia, Florida, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
And we understand, by the way. Don't be
yeah,
out
get
there.
It. Like home game,
yes.
You go first. We understand.
And we understand, too, the breaking news of the day, RJ. Let's hit that, even though this happened a few hours ago, because I think it kind of flew under the radar, and it is very, very important to note.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, yes, the expectation, and now officially the reality, is that the Florida-Georgia game will leave the city of Jacksonville during the 2026 and 2027 seasons, going to Tampa and Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. A round of applause, because the city of Jacksonville today announced a 4-year deal to return the game to Jacksonville and Everbank Stadium, beginning with that stadium in that stadium of the future in 2028 after those 2 years at neutral sites.
Yeah, and I think obviously we were hearing that is kind of what it was expected to be. And when we were talking to Myles Garrett, the little Myles Garrett, he was having he shared his opinion on that and said he didn't.
Little Myles. I thought we weren't calling him that. I'm just kidding.
But he said he doesn't love it, but I think to me it makes the most sense. I mean, I feel like those are two locations to where you do feel like you can get an even amount of fan base. It's not crazy trips. And so it is something that I think you had to maybe make it as fair as possible during that time. And we know that here it was already conversations of, is Georgia ever going, it was always like, is Georgia going to ever not want it here because it is in Florida. So this does give that opportunity to give them a little bit of love up in Georgia for the 1 year and see how that goes. But obviously they just extended the lease or whatever they had with Florida, Georgia here in Jacksonville. So it'll be here beyond that.
Right. That's the biggest news, I think. And that's what kind of flew under the radar. This question of, yes, Brett McMurphy of the Action Network reported earlier this week, Atlanta in 2026, Tampa in 2027. Little Miles is upset that they're not going to play on the home campuses. Sorry, Miles. And sorry to all of those of you with the nostalgia of the mid-'90s when the Gator Bowl was being renovated and the two teams played on the University of Florida and University of Georgia's campuses. Respect. The biggest news is that, yes, what Mayor Donna Deegan, what the Jacksonville City Council, what Shad Khan and the Jaguars ownership told you, with this reimagined Stadium of the Future officially a go and approved by the National Football League, it will be a world-class facility, and it will not only ensure the Jaguars are here for the next 30 years, but also that the Florida-Georgia game and world-class events will be here. It is massive news, officially in ink, officially announced at the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame luncheon today.
Just imagine that, too. Like, it's already such a fun, big event here in Jacksonville. And with a new stadium, like, can you imagine the people that will, like, the added people that are going to want to come to Florida, Georgia, Florida with the new stadium, too?
Yes. And, of course, playing at Everbank Stadium in 2028, but also the current Everbank Stadium is your Jacksonville Jaguars. A whole lot to get to when it comes to their matchup this Sunday with the Philadelphia Eagles. I noted it off the top. Lauren Brooks is not the only one suffering from the injury bug, or I guess for her it's some sort of illness bug. Hope Lauren's feeling better out there. Let's hit the injury report.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah,
Jacksonville.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So I'm going to begin by running through the list of updates that Doug Peterson gave us this morning at his final availability of the week. Then we will defer to yesterday's injury report. The final injury report for the Eagles and the Jaguars expected to drop a little bit later in the afternoon. Brian Thomas Jr. is a game-time decision with the chest contusion. Travis Etienne, quote, another one who is probably a game-time decision for the Jacksonville Jaguars, as is Gabe Davis with the shoulder injury. Taylor Dahl, react. Brian Thomas Jr., game-time decision.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne, game-time decision. Gabe Davis, game-time decision.
Can we skip this game if all of them don't play? I mean, I think that some of these other guys we've seen in the last couple weeks, especially Brenton Strange, step up into a role when he's needed to. And I do think that's been fun to see, because after last season, that was something that was already been talking about. Oh, here's another bulky bust pick. And now we have seen Brenton Strange be able to step up and make some big plays in moments when he's needed to. So I would expect that to continue, obviously. And then Parker Washington, I think in the moments when he's had to be the guy too, you have seen flashes from that. But losing, I mean, you already are down Christian Kirk, and then now you add all of these other guys. It definitely makes it a lot more difficult for an offense to function, and it makes it easy on the defense. The defense has to worry about a lot less with all of those guys not there.
Those are the headliners. Let's add insult to injury, question mark, pun intended. Ezra Cleveland has not practiced all week. Doug Peterson told reporters this morning he is, quote, probably not going to be available for the Eagles game on Sunday. Brandon Scherf, after not practicing all week, will attempt to practice today for the first time this week. If Ezra Cleveland can't go, the pride of Baker County, Cooper Hodges, will make his first start.
Cooper.
If you're down both your starting guards, Taylor Dahl, going against a ferocious defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, well...
Yeah, their defense has, we kind of, at the end of last season, were worried of what happened. And I think from talking the other day, when we were kind of previewing this Jags-Eagles game, and a lot of that seems like it's on, they felt like Desai was the problem, and the way he worded it was he couldn't lead a bachelor party to a strip club, I think is what he said. That is not what you want to say about your defensive coordinator. They're back. Like, this defense looks really, really good, and they're young up front, which helps. It's something that you don't see an end to anytime soon, because there is so much young talent on that defensive line. And yeah, they get after it. They get after it at all levels. They get after it in the interior, in the pass rush on the edges, everywhere. And so that is concerning, because you also have, obviously, with Cam gone, and you have Walker Little in there, who we've seen have moments, but this is definitely a big test for him this weekend.
We dove into it on Duval Rundown yesterday as well. If you haven't checked that out yet, it's available on demand at the 1010XL podcast and 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel networks. I asked Doug Peterson this morning to evaluate Cooper Hodges' play last week when he came in he came in for the injured Ezra Cleveland and the injured Brandon Scherf.
I thought he settled into the game. Didn't get a ton of reps, obviously, last week, but this week, in that spot, getting more of the work, you see some calmness. Got his work cut out for him, obviously, with these D tackles that they have, but he's up for the challenge. He's looking forward to it, and expect him to play well.
Two other updates from Doug Peterson on the Jaguars front before we flip on over to the Philadelphia Eagles injury update. Ronald Darby exited Sunday's loss to the Packers with a hip injury. He is fine. On the subject of Andrew Winger, Doug Peterson said, quote, Dewey is Dewey. Had a better week. We'll see today and make a decision today. Andrew Wingard, of course, making his way back from that knee injury he suffered during training camp. As for the Philadelphia Eagles, they had several players who did not practice on Wednesday. One of those players, Jalen Carter, a name that dog fans, whether you live in Jacksonville or you're just visiting us for the cocktail party this weekend, you're certainly familiar with. He was a full participant on Thursday after not practicing with the shoulder on Wednesday. Landon Dickerson, the guard, was a limited participant on Thursday after not practicing on Wednesday. Both Dallas Goedert and Darius Slay did not practice for a second straight day on Thursday. That is certainly one to note. We heard from John Kincaid. We've heard from a couple people around the Eagles organization that Darius Slay may not be able to go on Sunday. One player who did not practice in full on Wednesday was limited with a concussion, but was a full participant Thursday, is also... Wow, a reclamation project. I don't even know if I should be calling him a tackle or a guard. Mekhi Becton, the flopped former first-round pick of the New York Jets, of course, now a part of that Philadelphia Eagles stalwart offensive line.
Yeah, I think that this is every week we go through this list, and it's very long, I feel like, of every opponent that the Jags have played. But when it gets to this time of year, you know injuries are going to be a part of almost every team. And that's one thing the Jags were lucky with in 2022 is they didn't have to deal with a lot of that. But that's also, Mia, why a lot of people were concerned this offseason when we were talking about the offensive line, because there's a bunch of guys who in the last few years have struggled with injuries, and Ezra Cleveland being one of them, and then now dealing with more injuries, it's concerning, because then here we are again having to shuffle your offensive line and figure things out, and you just don't get any time altogether when this happens. So it's unfortunate, and I think there's a list of some really important Philly players that potentially we could not see on Sunday.
Doug Peterson said this today about Brian Thomas Jr. I think it can be said for a lot of players in the National Football League right about now, including on this very roster in this town. Quote, he's not going to be 100%, but no one is at this time. We also don't want any setbacks.
Yeah.
It is a marathon, not a sprint, folks. This has been the Fair and Fair Injury Update. This is Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. A whole lot more still to get to. Taylor's Tangent awaits on the other side. We also will make our weekly picks. Don't worry, we have Lauren Brooks' picks as well as updated standings. You are listening to 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Game day hits the ground running early with news and notes, fun facts, and the names you need to know with a Terminix Kickoff Show.
Let's go!
5 hours before kickoff. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade on 1010XL.
Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clog drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all. And they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Cruising with XL Prime Time in the First Coast Honda Dealer Studios on 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
It's a sale so big, it's been over 40 years in the making.
It's Beard's Diamonds' incredible 44th anniversary sale. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to 44% off.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 1st, 2017, the Houston Astros win their first ever World Series title, beating the Dodgers in Game 7. Astros outfielder George Springer III was awarded MVP.
Southampton invites you to enjoy a round of golf and then a round with your buds, thanks to their game day special. Every Saturday and Sunday during the season, order up 10 wings and a cold pitcher for just $22. Plus, being a member at Southampton has its privileges, like a $500 gift card when you join with a paid initiation fee. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Twilight Golf every day with special rates after 3 o'clock. Don't forget trivia Thursday nights and music on the patio Friday night. All at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
I-9 Sports is getting geared up for more fun for kids all over the First Coast with winter and spring registration now open. Kids ages 3 to 17 can get in the gym or on the field with I-9 Sports, covering Clay, Duval, and St. John's, and I-9 introducing all-girls volleyball and flag at Duval Charter and all-girls flag at Nocatee, plus flag, soccer, t-ball, and basketball for boys and girls too. So don't miss out. Registration open now for winter and spring at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
Hey, Icken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Slow, and I want to talk to you today about having a grateful spirit. As we journey in life, it's so easy to take things for granted. But I want to encourage you to never get tired of thanking God for your blessings. Take time also to thank the people in your life who have and are helping you to become the person you are today. Don't go through life complaining, go through life praising.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
With Christian Kirk being placed on IR and Brian Thomas Jr. being banged up, the Jags will have to look to their receivers who have not had as much playing time to contribute to the offense. Parker Washington has shown a lot of promise with the end of last year stepping up as well as now. Washington will be asked to fill the void and be a reliable target for Trevor Lawrence, lining up outside and in the slot. Here's Press Taylor on Washington stepping up.
Well, I think it's always hard just being a backup. These guys all come out of college being the guy, and now you're the backup. Whether you're the fourth, fifth, you're the backup at all spots. So if Christian goes down, you go in the slot. If, last year somebody else went down, he went outside. There's kind of that flexibility where maybe that's a little bit, maybe that's a little tougher just mentally having to prepare for that, and then it slows you down a little bit in the way you play.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
I know it's a Sunshine Turf Friday, but it's a feel-good Friday too, Taylor Doll.
Yes.
84 degrees, Georgia-Florida game has arrived in the city of Jacksonville. Your Jacksonville Jaguars will head to the city of brotherly love for the weekend to, of course, battle the Philadelphia Eagles. And what says Feel-Good Friday more than Taylor Doll's Final Tangent of the Week?
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Going to look around the NFL a little bit, Mia, of some of the things to look forward to for this week 9. Several possible historic marks or milestones can be passed this weekend by a bunch of people, including a lot of rookies. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors all have chances to break some sort of mark or milestone. Also, Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Justin Herbert. So we'll look at some of those. Jaden Daniels has a 112.8 passer rating in 4 career road games. And on Sunday against the Giants, obviously they play at 1 on Sunday, he can join Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes as the only players with a passer rating of 110 or higher in their first 5 career road games. Pretty crazy. That's minimum 100 attempts, and Dak Prescott's was 119.5, and Mahomes was 115.2. Daniels can also join Prescott as the only players all time with a passer rating of 90 or higher, minimum 15 attempts per game in each of their first 5 career road games. So something to look out for Jaden there, and I feel like playing the Giants could be a good chance to make that record happen.
Hey, now the Jets did win last night, Taylor. Maybe something is in the water at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. They're trying to make up for all the sadness that the Yankees caused in the World Series.
And look, I brought it up to our friend Dylan Morton in Jags PR earlier this week, who's also from New Jersey and is also a diehard Yankees fan. And before I even said, the sports equinox was Monday, and he goes, yes, and all of our teams lost between Monday and Tuesday. I know. Yes, continue.
All right. So Bo Nix has won 3 consecutive road starts, and with a win at Baltimore, that's a little more tough, a little tougher of a task, but he can become the 6th rookie quarterback all time to win 4 of his first 5 career road starts, joining a Mac Jones, Dak Prescott, Ben Roethlisberger, Andy Dalton, and Dan Marino. Caleb Williams, with a win at Arizona, would become the 2nd quarterback selected number 1 overall in the NFL draft to win 5 of their first 8 career starts, joining Andrew Luck. Las Vegas rookie tight end Brock Bowers leads the NFL with 52 receptions, and with 8 receptions at Cincy this weekend, he can join Puka Nacua, who had 64, and Saquon Barkley with 62, as the only players in NFL history with at least 60 receptions in their first 9 career games.
Wait, time out. Brock Bowers leads the National Football League in receptions?
Isn't that crazy?
Well, so technically Garrett Wilson, who's obviously played one more game because he played last night, now has 60. How have we not talked about
that?
This?
I know. And honestly, I feel we need to talk about Brock Bowers a lot more than we've been like that.
Chris Godwin is 3rd, by the way, folks, and he's obviously done for the year.
I just go back to Mia when we were doing our, in April, when we were doing our lead up to the NFL draft, and every team that we talked to, because obviously we did every pick leading up to the Jags pick on our show, and every single team, I'd be like, what about Brock Bowers? And they're like, I don't know. Like, we don't want to draft a tight end that high. And now they're probably like, dang.
Well, because the thing is like, do you need a tight end? You could find great value on day 2 or day 3. But do you need Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
I think all 32 teams would say they could use Brock Bowers.
Yeah. So Bowers leads all tight ends with 535 receiving yards this season and can join Pro Football Hall of Famer Mike Ditka, who had 771 receiving yards, and Kyle Pitts, who had 606 as the only tight ends in NFL history with at least 600 receiving yards in their first 9 career games. Moving on to another rookie, and Malik Neighbors, the Giants wide receiver, has 46 receptions in 6 career games, and with 4 receptions against Washington, he can join Puka Nacua, who had 58 receptions, as the only players in NFL history with at least 50 receptions in their first 7 career games. He has 498 receiving yards in 6 career games and can become the 5th player in the Super Bowl era with at least 600 receiving yards in their first 7 career, joining Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Anquan Bolden, and Odell Beckham. So some good names alongside Malik Neighbors right now.
What's even more surprising, 2 of the top 10 in the National Football League right now, leaders in receptions, are New York Football Giants. You can surmise that and say, well, they're playing from behind, so they have to throw the ball a lot. But if I told you that Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, had a receiving core, that 2 of the 10 leaders in receptions in the National Football League were in it, I don't think anyone would have believed you if you heard that. I also think it's important to note that when we look at those top 10 in receptions right now as it stands, again, obviously the New York Jets and the Houston Texans have played one more game. Chris Godwin, done for the year, currently 3rd in receptions. Stephon Diggs, 7th in the National Football League with 47 receptions. He is done for the year.
Wow.
And I think that does give some context to what a dramatic loss that both of those players are to their respective teams.
Yeah.
But also I think it kind of gives you an idea of where passing is in the National Football League, or at least the priorities for these different teams.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day, and we've talked about it a few times on this show about how the run game has become so important, and it's I want to say in the last decade, the highest rushing stats, like when it comes to the amount and percentage that teams are running the ball and the effectiveness of that in the offense is the highest in like a decade that I was reading. So that's crazy. But all of the top 5 rushing teams and like the teams that rush the most in the NFL right now are all teams that are leading their divisions. So it's kind of crazy to look at that. A couple more. Jared Goff obviously has been playing really, really good football. He in weeks 4 and 6 through 8 with a bye in week 5 became the third player in NFL history with a passer rating of 125 or higher in 4 consecutive games, joining Russell Wilson, who had 5 straight games in 2015, and Ryan Tannehill, who had 4 in 2019. On Sunday at Green Bay, they play at 4:25 on Sunday. He can become the 4th quarterback since 2000 with at least 2 touchdown passes and a passer rating of 110 or higher in 6 consecutive games, joining Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good company. Should be noted that Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson, who both did not practice on Wednesday, did practice yesterday for the Lions and Ravens, respectively.
Yeah. Let me read one more just because it's a familiar name that we're all glad is not in the division anymore. Derrick Henry. He just doesn't stop. It's like insane to keep watching him.
He's the anomaly.
Yes.
And I think that in an age, to your point, where certainly running is up across the board in the National Football League, the ground game is getting the respect that it perhaps did not get for the better part of the last decade, Taylor. However, I think the value of individual running backs and what one single guy can do for your offense, that remains where it has been the last 10 years, which is you can find value and you're going to have turnover at the position year after year so quickly. Unless you have Derrick Henry, who just is economically, like he's recession-proof. He is as just absolutely sustainable as any player we've ever seen at the position.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch him. But he leads the NFL with 11 scrimmage touchdowns this season. And last week became the first player in NFL history with a touchdown in each of his first 8 games with a team. With his next rushing touchdown this season, Henry can become the 4th player in NFL history to reach 10 rushing touchdowns in 7 career seasons, joining LaDainian Thomas, Emmitt Smith, and Adrian Peterson. He can also become the 5th player in NFL history with at least 100 rushing touchdowns in the first 9 seasons, joining Tomlinson, Smith, Jim Brown, and Sean Alexander. So Derrick Henry just continuing on.
Remember when he fell to the second round back in 2016? That was a lot of fun. You want to know what also is a lot of fun? Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And especially when it's a double dose, Taylor Doll.
Yes, we have a family pack today. So lunch for 4. Lunch on the ladies. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4.
All right, caller number 4 for that 4-pack to Chick-fil-A. A couple notes from around the National Football League before we get ready for the 3 o'clock hour and our picks in the college football ranks and the NFL. Derek Carr is off the injury report in New Orleans and will play over Spencer Rattler when they face the Carolina Panthers this weekend. I know Lauren Brooks is tuning in from her infirmary right now, and she was so excited to hear a Derek Carr reference in her honor on a Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels. When we return, we will make those picks. Still a whole lot to do on this abbreviated, but still also feeling good Sunshine Turf Friday right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Every NFL Sunday starts with a kickoff.
All you got to do is put your foot right through the ball.
After the game, we'll crown the special teams player of the game.
He is a difference maker now.
Brought to you by Crown Royal.
This is the last play of the game.
On 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Projax Roofing. Hurricane meteorological season ends today. However, if your roof took on any damage during Hurricane Milton or Hurricane Helene, know that my friends at Projax Roofing are here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. While we hope everyone stayed safe during those 2 storms, if you need any help with your roof, call Projax Roofing at 904-338-1722, and you will speak to Mike directly. That's Projax Roofing at 904-338-1722 or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
About you, but I don't want to hear another word about inflation. Am I right? fight inflation. And thanks to my friends at Arlington Toyota, now I can. Mia here, and the inflation fighter is back and saving you thousands at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Think you have to put thousands down? Think again. Right now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, just $500 down and $288 per a month gets you a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $500 down and $388 per month. And that puts you in the driver's seat. Take that, inflation. But my friends at Arlington aren't done yet, because you also get no payments till January 2025. Now you're talking. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles, and you even get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. It's time to fight inflation at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
You're riding in the First Coast Honda Dealer Studios. XL Prime Time on 1010XL.
Mia here for MyBookie. Have you hit any bets yet this week? Our listeners have been killing it betting with MyBookie, turning spreads, over-unders, and prop bets into straight cash, homie. If you haven't heard, it's Florida-Georgia week. On Saturday, the action pops off with the Gators 16-point dogs to the Bulldogs. The over-under game total is 52 points, one of the most bet-on games of the season, so keep an eye on the lines. You know it doesn't stop there. On Sunday, you have a projected shootout between the Cowboys and the Falcons and a 52-point over-under total. The Dolphins-Bills game, 49 for the game total, and the Lions-Packers is a 48-point game total. Jacksonville goes to Philly as a 7.5-point underdog to the Eagles, and you cap it off with Sunday Night Football. The Joe Flacco-led Colts travel to play the Vikings. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. It's the best deposit sign-up bonus in the industry, folks. Sign up now with promo code 1010XL and make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect.
When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it.
You make power plays.
Aim for fences and go for end zones. You believe that your moment is now.
At Farrah and Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you. Jacksonville.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
The Jaguars are facing off against the Minnesota Vikings Sunday, November 10th for the Jag Salute to Service game. See the Shell White alternative helmets in action for the first time and join us in honoring our military all game long. Kickoff is 1 p.m. Don't miss this matchup and lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. The Florida Gators men's basketball team is close to opening their season against the South Florida Bulls this Monday. Gators are coming off a 24-12 season, improving by 8 victories since head coach Todd Golden's first year at UF. Todd Golden spoke yesterday to the media on how training camp has gone.
I think we've had a good training camp. I feel like the guys have done a really good job of working collectively towards being ready to go for the beginning of the year. Thought we weren't necessarily great in our first scrimmage. Some positive things, but some things we need to do better. Thought we were better this past Saturday. Just more complete, a little more physical, better on the glass. So I think we're tracking, but until we play the real game, TBD.
The Gators and the Bulls tip off here in Jacksonville at the 5-Star Arena Monday night at 8:30. It's 83 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
3 o'clock hour is here. Yes, your ears are not deceiving you. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl. No Lauren Brooks, who remains on the reserve injured list. She will rejoin us on Monday. It is a Sunshine Turf Friday here on Helmets and Heels. You did miss XL Primetime. If you turned on your radio and expected to hear the sonorous voice of Joe Cowart, they were all hands on deck holding down the fort for us at the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame luncheon from 12 to 2:15. Ton of great interviews with all the Hall of Famers, the 4 inductees this year, as well as many others. That'll be available on the 1010XL YouTube channels shortly. And, of course, you can go back and listen to XL Primetime on demand if you missed any of it.
Goldberg. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I literally Googled. I was like, oh, that Goldberg.
That Goldberg. No, not Austin Powers, Gold Member. We're talking Goldberg. I also thought great interview with Mike Peterson, of course. I jokingly said, Taylor, when it was first announced, the 4 inductees back in September, Mike Peterson may be the interim head coach at the University of Florida by then. He is not. He will be coaching outside linebackers, the former Jacksonville Jaguar, tomorrow at the cocktail party between Georgia and Florida. But yeah, an all-star lineup once again. It was crazy to think it was a year ago. Joe Hayden was inducted on the Florida side for the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame. And so thank you again to Josie, Matt Hayes, and Leon Searcy for holding down the fort, as well as Andrew Gibson for pushing all the right buttons down there at Everbank Stadium.
We're speaking of real quick, Mia, because we didn't have a show yesterday, obviously, but speaking of Hall of Fame, if people did not know, Tom Coughlin was announced as one of the semifinalists, one of 9 semifinalists for the Coaches Pro Football Hall of Fame. So long time coming for TC, obviously. So really cool news to hear that for him.
And there's a lot of big-time names, and so I'm not writing off the possibility of Tom Coughlin being an inductee this year into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But to hear Mike Shanahan still has not been inducted.
That is kind of crazy,
into
honestly.
the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The fact that Tom Coughlin has not been inducted, I don't know what the logjam was about because there's a couple of names on that list that I'm like, how are we still at this juncture? Marty Schottenheimer, the late Marty Schottenheimer. Like, I was shocked to see that he has not been inducted either. And so that is certainly going to be a tough cut. But yes, TC making it to the final 9 for that induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on the coach's side. We have picks to make. Let's hit it, RJ. Beginning, as we do each and every week, in the college ranks. But first, Lauren Brooks did send us our updated standings. Somehow, some way. Actually, this is probably not too surprising. She may say so, but Lauren is in the lead with 28. I am right behind at 27 after leading heading into last week. Taylor Dahl, 23 points on the season. So
the last 2 weeks, I think I've only gotten 2 right the last 2 weeks.
The problem that really, the one that really killed the two of us, we believed in those midshipmen of Navy last week.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd win. I just thought, honestly, it'd be closer. But I also, when we talked to Mike Golick earlier, junior, and he said he has like the same sentiment. You just feel like you've been traumatized so much by Notre Dame football that like the moment you feel like this is an easy one, like the NIU game, you get crushed. So I more so was just preparing myself to not be hurt, and then it went the opposite way, which is great. I will take that any week.
A win's a win.
I will take a win over my picks being right, but yeah.
And also, we can't forget that you didn't make a pick for the Jaguars-Bears game. Yeah. So you did punt on one game along the way. Again, let's begin in the college front and the Big Ten, where Ohio State is a 3-point favorite on the road at Happy Valley. I think this is a whiteout. I'm not sure, but either way, it's a noon kick between the Nittany Lions and the Buckeyes. Taylor Dahl, who do you have?
Yeah, spoiler alert, I'm going to go for all my picks today are going to be pretty much defense. Like why I think that I'm going to say because I feel like their defenses are so good. I know obviously Penn State and Ohio State, their defenses are playing really well, but Ohio State probably has a top 3-4 defense in college football right now. And then in addition to that, they also have a top 10 scoring offense. So I'm going to go Ohio State.
James Franklin, in his career, against top 10 opponents, 3-17.
Ooh.
He's 4-16 against Ohio State and Michigan combined. 12-26 when facing top 25 ranked opponents.
Wow.
I'm sorry, it's not going to end tomorrow. Give me the Buckeyes, 3-point favorites in Happy Valley. Did we get Lauren's picks?
Yes, she did.
Yes. Her highlights.
Yeah,
she
hers are highlighted.
All right, so Lauren is also going with Ohio. I was confused when I saw the highlighted. She likes to highlight a lot of things. So Lauren will also be going with Ohio State. Mm-hmm. To the SEC we go, where Texas A&M, the SEC leading Aggies, are 3-point favorites on the road at South Kakalaka. The Beamer Ball boys. I think they're going to get it done, Taylor. I have said this time and time again. Shane Beamer is not only a good coach, not only has he vindicated himself as someone who can recruit the heck out of high school players, but he also can recruit the heck out of the portal. Yeah. That defensive line is the most underrated defensive front in college football, so give me the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I'm actually going Beamer and the Gamecocks, too.
Oh, no. Clean sweep.
I know, all of us for that one. And that one, I honestly think this game is going to be really fun, obviously, and we'll see with the quarterback change in Texas A&M what that looks like in a full game. But I love, South Carolina's defense for me has been so fun to watch these last few games. So, yeah, I'm going Gamecocks.
So all three of us went Ohio State.
All three go South Carolina.
All three go South Carolina. Lauren Brooks is taking Florida to cover a 14.5-point spread against Georgia. This line, Taylor Dahl, has shifted an entire touchdown in the last week. They opened as 21.5-point dogs. They are now 14.5-point dogs to the Bulldogs. Who are you taking in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party?
Yeah, I think I have to go Bulldogs. It'll be interesting. I think that I just don't know if DJ Lagway, I think we'll see some explosive moments from him. I just don't know if from start to finish he'll be able to hold up against that Georgia defense. And I also think that the Georgia being able to, you've seen this spike in them being able to run the ball recently too, which I think will help Carson Beck. He's turned over the ball a lot the last 2 games, 5 times the last 2 games. So hopefully if he can control those things, I think it's all dogs.
I think Lauren is playing that hook. That hook, it's appetizing.
I know.
It's an appetizing hook. If Florida had still been 16.5-point favorites like they were coming into today,
probably go Florida.
I probably pick Florida to cover a 16.5-point spread. But because of that hook, I will also go with Georgia. Go Dogs. To the NFL we go. Bears at Cardinals. Arizona, the Phoenix Cardinals. 1.5 point favorites. If you don't know that reference, I feel sorry for you. Actually, I wish I was you. Taylor, are you taking your Bears on the road in the desert against a 4-4 Jonathan Gannon-led squad?
I am. This one's going to be an interesting one. I think that Kyler Murray's been playing pre-ACL tear Kyler Murray football. He's been able to evade a lot of pressure. He's been able to do a lot of things with his legs that we hadn't seen in a while since that injury. I think that the Bears offensive line's really beat up, so hopefully some of these guys can come in, and they literally have like no left tackle right now. So I don't even know who's playing that, maybe Cole Kmet. But I think that when you look at this game, this Bears defense has been really good, and I think they're going to come out, especially the way the game ended last week. I feel like it's just a game Caleb's going to come out and go ham because of the way the Hail Mary ended. There's an interesting stat, though, because the Bears have never lost on the road at Arizona Cardinals, but they, with Eberflus, have not won a road game.
At all?
A true road game.
At all?
Yeah. So,
I mean, I guess they beat the Jags in London, and they were...
that's what, like a true...
They were the home team. Okay.
Yeah. So,
wow.
That's an interesting number. I'm pretty sure it's 0. I'll refresh that stat just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's 0. So... one of those records are going to be broken this weekend, so we will see. But yeah, I'll say Bears.
So you will take the Bears. Lauren Brooks is taking the Cardinals and the -1.5. You and I have not actually sat down and had this conversation yet, despite Kevin asking me, I think, every day that I have come home this week.
Oh, never run a road game on a Sunday.
Oh, interesting.
A true road game on a Sunday.
All right, so a true road game on a Sunday in 3 years. Speaking of Flus, he keeps asking me, have you talked to Taylor about the Bears' schedule the rest of the way?
Yeah, it sucks.
At Arizona this Sunday.
These next two are okay.
Home against New England.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay, Minnesota, at Detroit, at San Francisco, at Minnesota, home against Detroit, home against those frisky Seahawks, at Green Bay.
Yeah.
If
the
you
entire
don't win,
division, and then with the 49ers and the Seahawks.
If you don't win this one,
you definitely want to win the next two. You want to beat the Cardinals. You want to beat the Patriots. If you do that, you're 6-3 heading into that gauntlet. And so it's definitely important. Unfortunately, that's what we were saying last week before the Washington game, and it looked like with 2 seconds on the clock, they were going to do it. So we'll see, because the division's going to be really hard to beat. So it is important games. And
we both went Georgia on the last one, so I've got to shake it up. I have to go Cardinals just to break away from Taylor Dahl. Staying in the NFC North, the Lions are 3-point favorites at the Minnesota Vikings. A little bit of a spicy line, but certainly the Lions are playing the best offensive football of any team in the National Football League. They can run it. They can throw it. Jared Goff only has to throw 4 passes if you really want him to. Lauren Brooks is taking the Lions. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lions, too. I think I just feel like teams have started to figure out the Vikings a little bit, and they cannot run the ball, and that's hurting them offensively. I think that the Lions' offense is just almost unstoppable, it looks like right now. I just read that stat about Jared Goff and how some of those names that he's been comparable to so far this season. I also think even without Aiden Hutchinson, they've been able to create pressure. They've been able to get some takeaways, and so they're still dangerous on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to take the Lions.
Hold on. How could she have Lions at Vikings when the Lions are not playing the Vikings this weekend? The Vikings are playing the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah, on Sunday night.
All right, Lauren Brooks, come on now. Let's pull up that spread and make sure we've got the right one. I just took a second there.
Is it Lions at Colts?
No, it's the Colts.
Colts at Vikings?
No, the Colts are playing the Vikings.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hold on, folks. This is the beauty of live radio for you. The Vikings, according to mybookie.ag, are 5.5-point favorites hosting the Colts. The Lions are 3-point favorites at the Packers.
Oh, okay.
This changes things, folks. This changes things. So we're playing Lions at Packers.
Okay.
And Lauren Brooks has taken the -3 in the Detroit Lions.
I'll still take the Lions, too.
I will also take the Lions because the Green Bay Packers have been firing on all cylinders and have to come back to down to earth at some point. I'm taking the Vikings in the 5.5
a little bit
against Joe Flacco and company because the Vikings have lost back-to-back games, and I think they bounce back against the Indianapolis Colts. Finally, your hometown team in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles. The Jags are 7.5-point dogs. Lauren Brooks has done the unthinkable, Taylor. She picked against the Jags. Are you picking against the Jags?
I am. I just think that the Eagles are a much better team at this point in time. I think that The injuries, obviously, that have started to pile up for the Jags do not help whatsoever. I could see it being one of the games where the Jags are in it through like halfway through the third, and then we get to the end of the third and the fourth, and the Eagles pull away and win by I'd say 10.
Picking against the Jags has not exactly served me well this year, so I'm going to pick the Jags. Okay. I like the hook there. I didn't take the hook for Florida. I will take the hook for your Jacksonville Jaguars. And everyone's counting them out. John Kincaid came on our airwaves from Philadelphia and said that the Eagles are going to smash the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He was very confident.
Despite the fact that Doug Peterson can get a free meal at any restaurant in the Philadelphia area at any time he wants. So give me the Big Cats. I'm curious to see with their backs against the walls what they are able to do. So to run through a clean sweep in the college front for our first two games, Lauren, Taylor, and myself all taking Ohio State -3, all taking South Carolina +3. Lauren has Florida +14.5. Taylor and I aren't as confident. Aren't as confident on the Gators. We will both take Georgia. Taylor has her Bears at +1.5. Lauren and I go in favor of the Cardinals. All three of us pick the Detroit Lions -3 on the road at Green Bay. Taylor and Lauren take the Eagles -7.5, and I will go with your Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are our picks brought to you by mybookie.ag. Be sure to head on over and sign up with promo code 1010XL in order to claim a double deposit bonus up to $1,000. Still a whole lot to do on a Sunshine Turf Friday right here on Helmets and Heels. We'll flip it on back to the cocktail party between Florida and Georgia coming up next right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Can you make picks like a pro?
Yes!
The 1010 Weekly Pick'em Contest is brought to you by MyBookie. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Are we doing this?
You pick 'em at 1010XL.com.
I'm Chris Campione. In a world of big box law firms with satellite offices, there's something special about having a local legal team that cares about you and your community. We're not just lawyers, we're your neighbors. We understand the unique challenges facing the Jacksonville community because we live here too. At Campione Law, Campione Cares isn't just a tagline, it's our commitment to you. Campione Law, your trusted lawyers after an accident. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say,
What? Huh?
I'm so over this.
but what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this. Call State Farm agent Catherine Baustert in Middleburg at 276-2112.
The First Coast Honda Dealer Studios on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Attention poker fans, the World Poker Tour is dealing hot at Best Bet Jacksonville now through November 19th. The action is fierce with 14 pulse-pounding tournaments, including the Best Bet Mystery Bounty and the $5,000 No Limit Hold'em main event with a jaw-dropping $1 million prize pool up for grabs. Your shot at Poker Glory is just a buy-in away. For tournament schedules and details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet Jacksonville and the World Poker Tour, where today's players become tomorrow's legends.
When the Dogs and Gators cross the bridge, the world's largest cocktail party becomes a fight on the First Coast.
The party of the year.
Florida Georgia Week is celebrated by Kingfish Pest Control and Ackerman Urology and Cancer Center on 1010XL.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners, financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh, is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air and Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Yo, it's your boy E.T. here, and come watch the Jags-Eagles game with me. That's right, I'll be at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra on Sunday. $9 pitchers, best wings in town, and the NFL package with all the games on. They've got 54 TVs in that thing, so you won't miss anything. I'll be giving out some swag, too, from 1010XL and Mr. Chubby's. It's going to be a party, so make sure you come say hi. Again, $9 pitchers this Sunday at 4. Eagles-Jags at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com, powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
At Hodges Mazda, we are proud of our solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here. As your hometown Mazda dealer, our high customer service standards and our huge inventory of new and used cars provide our customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Our professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners. Do you need chain link fence, commercial steel, or rolling doors? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. So contact Coyle & Sons today. That's 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
So I'm realizing, Taylor Doll, before we made our picks across college football and the National Football League, number one, we probably should have proofread who the Lions were playing, although we all went with the Lions -3 on the road at Green Bay, and I think we would have, regardless of who they were playing, at this juncture with how much Detroit is rolling. Probably would have wanted to run through this injury estimated update from the Florida Gators. Both of us went in favor of Georgia covering a 14.5-point spread at Everbank Stadium tomorrow against the Gators. Florida will be without Jason Marshall, their veteran defensive back who is out for the remainder of the season. They will once again be without their star do-it-all wideout, Eugene Wilson. They, of course, will be without Graham Mertz, who is out for the remainder of the year. Here's a list of other players who have been ruled out already for the Florida Gators. Defensive back, Jakeem Jackson. Running back, the pride of Trinity Christian, Trayon Webb. Defensive back, Asa Turner. Wide receiver, Khalil Jackson. 2 offensive linemen, another local guy in Roderick Carney, and then Devon Manuel, and defensive lineman Jamari Lyons. Montrell Johnson and Damian George are both listed as questionable going into this game. We knew that this would be the Jaden Baugh show.
Yeah.
Even if Montrell Johnson can go tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. It was the ball.
I think
ball game.
It's all about give him the ball.
Yeah.
Trayon Webb is an interesting situation because he has been banged up. He's been hurt. We obviously root for the local guy. But what I am so fascinated to see is if Montrell Johnson is able to go. I don't want to speak it into existence, but do we have another, cue the X-Files music, RJ, Trevor Etienne, Montrell Johnson, running back, carousel, RB1 controversy in Gainesville?
I mean, I'd say yes. I mean, I think that there's going to already, and we've talked about this. Lauren's been talking about Jaden Baugh, obviously, since the spring game way back, and you finally got to see, everybody else finally got to see Jaden Baugh. I feel like we've been talking about him here, but the world got to see Jaden Baugh, and I think a lot of people after that game were asking, why hasn't this guy been used more? So I think it's going to stir up some stuff because it is somebody when you go through and Montrell's been that guy for them, and I feel like coming into the season, most people were very confident in Florida's run game because of Montrell Johnson, and then now you add this other element, and what do? I mean, here, I think when we're talking about the Jaguars, you feel like you can use both because the backs are different, and they're different style backs, and we've talked about that, and we talked about that's what works in Detroit, is because you have Jahmyr Gibbs, and because you have, obviously, David Montgomery, but what do you do when they're more similar backs? That's a good question.
You try to preserve the health of both players and the longevity of both players by playing both players. Ultimately, Billy Napier can say what he wants, that the reason Trevor Etienne fell out of favor with the staff in Gainesville was situational awareness, not going down against Missouri, his inability or at least not being as far along in his development as a pass protector as Montrell Johnson was. Yeah. You could say all you want about that. But for me, I just couldn't help but get away from this notion of you brought Montrell Johnson to Gainesville and you want to ensure he gets his due. He's a great college running back.
Yeah.
I think he could have success in the National Football League, especially if he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
I want to see Jaden Baugh lined up next to DJ Lagway under center in the backfield against Georgia tomorrow.
And I think also Lagway and the way he is mobile also adds and it opens up the run game even more so. And so I do think that in a game like this, you utilize all of that. If that's your strongest suit right now and you don't want to force DJ Lagway in these situations where he makes mistakes, which we have seen him in moments. His last game, obviously, no passing touchdowns and a turnover. You don't want to force him to where he has to throw against Georgia. You want to be able to rely on his obviously running ability, but also having two backs, and if Montrell's obviously good to go, in Jaden Baugh and Montrell Johnson. You said some of the two offensive linemen out too?
Yes, two offensive. Manuel and Carney are both backups, but Damian George is a starter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting because that's been one of Florida's strong suits this year is their offensive line. And I think that has factored into not only giving, when it was Graham Mertz, giving Graham Mertz time to throw, but also a big factor in the run game being successful too. And that's their right guard. So we'll see how much that's affected too. Especially against the Georgia front.
By all accounts, this Georgia team is as healthy as they coming into this matchup. I do want to point out to your point, Taylor, about Baugh and Montrell Johnson having similar skill sets and similar body types. You could say the same for Georgia. And I'm sure there's some Dogs fans out there who'd love to sound off on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010, or the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line on YouTube, because Trevor Etienne, officially on the Georgia website, is listed at 5'9", 205. Freshman sensation Nate Frazier is listed at 5'10", 210. So they are similar body types. Neither has gone over the 100-yard mark individually so far this season on the ground.
I think, was it like Etienne was like a yard away, a yard or two?
It still doesn't count. It still doesn't count. And that's
so close.
I brought it up with Myles Garrett when we had him on Wednesday, and I said, I'm surprised because I believe, and I think that win over Texas was Kirby Smart planting his flag and saying, look,
we're going to lean into this.
Todd Monken is not my OC. It's my best friend, my former college roommate, and Mike Bobo. We are going to run the ball, and we're going to play great defense. And the fact that we have a potential Heisman candidate at quarterback, that's a bonus. That is not going to be at the heart of who we are as an offense. And so it is surprising that they've leaned into the run, but they have multiple guys who play the same, and they're keeping them fresh. And certainly, the fact that Frazier is a true freshman and Trevor Etienne is a junior transfer, I think that plays into it a little bit, that maybe you see Trevor Etienne with more of the carries. Trevor Etienne obviously was suspended the first week of the season, and so Frazier saw more of the carries there. And I don't think it's a controversy. So that's what I find so fascinating. It's the meme of, Lord, I see what you've done for others, and I want that done for me. I think if we get to a point in this gauntlet of the remainder of the season for Florida in which you see, despite Jaden Baugh's 5-touchdown performance just a few weeks ago, you see Montrell Johnson getting more carries than Jaden Baugh. I don't want to say that lightning is going to strike Ben Hill Griffin Stadium twice, but that is my concern because I am seeing what is happening at Georgia and the balance of power in the run game, and it's working.
And I'm also curious because I know that Kirby Smart made comments that, Trevor Etienne facing his former team doesn't factor. They're not really thinking about it. I can't remember the exact quote he said, but just something along the lines of it's another game. Like focus on. Here it is. Focus on the task. You don't want to be caught up in the emotions and be emotional. To me, I do feel like there adds an extra element of something when you left a team to go to a rival. It adds. Florida's going to be focusing on that. At least Florida fans are going to be focusing on like, hey, you left us.
Right, exactly. And, if you want to check out our 1010XL social channels, we did ask Travis Etienne in his availability this week about what it's going to be like for his brother to return to Everbank Stadium, only this time as a member of the Georgia Bulldogs. And he said some of his best friends in the world are still on that team. And I think it's a storyline that, as I'm saying it out loud on the radio in Jacksonville, Florida, I know there are Gator fans grinding their gears as we are having this discussion. One more segment to go on a Sunshine Turf Friday right here on Helmets and Heels, brought to you by Sunshine Turf. Be sure to check them out online, Instagram, Facebook, a ton of really cool stuff that they're cooking up for either your commercial or residential property. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Nimnick Chevrolet is your Silverado headquarters. Frank Frangie here. With the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and their best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick. And for even deeper discounts, ask about their demo model. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership off Cassett Avenue today. Remember, who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. That's nimnickchevy.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Buckle up. You're in the First Coast Honda Dealer Studios with XL Primetime on 1010XL. Find your new Honda at your 8 local Honda dealers.
Mia here for MyBookie. Have you hit any bets yet this week? Our listeners have been killing it betting with MyBookie, turning spreads, over-unders, and prop bets into straight cash, homie. If you haven't heard, it's Georgia-Florida week. On Saturday, the action pops off with the Gators 14.5-point dogs to the Dogs. The over-under game total, 52 points. This will be one of the most bet-on games of the weekend. Keep an eye on the lines as they do keep shifting. You know it doesn't stop there. On Sunday, you have a projected shootout between the Cowboys and the Falcons in a 52-point over-under total. The Bills-Dolphins game total is at 49, and that Lions-Packers game, a 48-point game total. Meanwhile, Jacksonville goes to Philly as 7.5-point underdogs. That line has held steady. You cap it off Sunday Night Football. Joe Flacco facing the Vikings at the helm of the Colts. Use the promo code 1010XL to claim a double deposit bonus only with MyBookie. Promo code 1010XL.
Picking here with a message from Zero Res. You gotta just love this time of the year as we reflect on the things that matter most. Families, homes, the holidays. and, of course, football. They're very grateful for you, all the good people of Jacksonville, and they want to thank you. So get ready for the holidays. Book today, and Zero Res will clean your carpets for only $49 a room. Plus, they'll give you 25% off your tile cleaning. This one fills up fast, so book now on both carpet and tile. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
Pregame Friday
is brought to you by MyBookie
and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 1st, 2017, the Houston Astros win their first ever World Series title, beating the Dodgers in Game 7. Astros outfielder George Springer III was awarded MVP.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The news broke Tuesday that the Jaguars are sending left tackle Cam Robinson up north to Minnesota in exchange for draft pick compensation. Walker Little will now have the full-time left tackle role in Robinson's absence. For head coach Doug Peterson, he knows how difficult it can be for making those mid-season trades. Here's how Peterson feels about the situation.
It's never easy. I've been one of those guys, so I know it's never easy. And now you're on this side of it, and it's tough. You know, the biggest thing for me, too, I think, is just how much you appreciate what the players have put in, and the hard work, and whether they were drafted here or not. I mean, it's never easy.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
So we're going to cool down, I guess, looking ahead to the Jags-Eagles game this weekend. I'm going to talk about, there's obviously Florida-Georgia is a big one. We just talked about that a little bit. But I do think, and both, I picked Philly to win this game for the spread and to win this game. I just think that, as I mentioned earlier, I think they are a better team. They're playing much better football. They're a healthier team right now, so there's a lot of factors into it. But some of the interesting things when it comes to Philly, they haven't turned the ball over one time in the last 3 games, and they have 1 turnover in the last 4 games, and it was a fumble. Jalen Hurts has been really, really good when it comes to protecting the ball, and the last time these two played, it was in a monsoon, and there was a lot of turnovers, and it got really messy. And so I was looking at the weather earlier. It's beautiful. It's going to be sunny and at like a high of 60 or something. So I feel like we shouldn't see that. Trevor's obviously, last week we saw an interception and a fumble, but has been also a lot better with the football. So I think we can expect a cleaner game, which is good because last time it was messy, and I feel like we couldn't really see the full like Trevor versus Jalen thing because it was just kind of messy. But there's a path where the Jags can make this competitive, but they have to find a way to get pressure on Jalen Hurts and force some mistakes, because that's something, if you look at the games that the Eagles have struggled in, it's all games. And like I said, now this last streak has been really good because they haven't made any mistakes. But the games they've lost, he's made multiple mistakes in those games. So I think that, and running the ball, using Tank, like just be that guy this game and don't abandon the run whatsoever. Keep going, keep digging into it, and try and wear down that defensive front and open up some opportunities for Trevor.
To that same point about the run game, which I agree. And I think limiting the possessions for the Eagles equally as important as to how you did limit the possessions for the Green Bay Packers overall a week ago on Sunday. Speaking of the offensive line, though, sounds
Jags
like
O-line?
Jags offensive line, running the ball if you're the Jags. Sounds like no Ezra Cleveland. Cooper Hodges, I mean, if there's one thing he can do, you're going to pick him in a bar fight, and he looks great in the run game. So you would hope that helps you, but he will be making his first career start if Ezra Cleveland does indeed not travel. Again, we don't have the injury report officially just yet, but the expectation was that Brandon Scherf was going to try to practice today. The strength, as Doug Peterson noted earlier this morning, for that defensive front for the Philadelphia Eagles just so happens to be on the interior.
Yeah, usually it's, the edge guys or one guy, maybe 2, in this case they've got a number of guys, to your point, that can get after the passer, and it's a great challenge for our offensive line, but each week it's that way. That's the NFL. Each week you're going to go against good pass rushers, and it's just a matter of just, working your technique, trusting, great communication, obviously, and just being physical.
Here's the lineup for the Eagles along that defensive front, where they truly can run hockey shifts, by the way, folks. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff, Milton Williams. That is not even tapping into that Sam linebacker spot, because they do run a 3-4 base defense where you have the likes of Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, and the rookie, out of Houston Christian, Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, the Florida Gators are facing the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Jags are facing...
Also facing the Georgia Bulldogs. Well said, Taylor. Well said. Print the shirts.
But I also think, their secondary, too. Quinyon Mitchell has been so good this year. Cooper DeJean, we've seen just start to break out, too. I know he's a nickel corner and that slot guy, but that is important, too, to focus on, because I do think that that's been some of the key factors. And when the Jags get things moving, obviously is Evan Ingram in that spot, but also Brenton Strange. And so they have a nickel corner, a slot corner who can really handle that midfield intermediate stuff. So it'll be interesting with that. CJ Gardner-Johnson is just one of those guys that will irritate the heck out of people and pick on them until they snap and get a penalty. So just don't do that. But their secondary is good too. And that's the thing with their defense, is they're just, from all 3 levels, are guys that you're talking about at playing at a really high level. And when they are on, there's not much you can do. So that's why, to your point, I think it's very important this weekend to keep their offense off the field as long as possible.
Their passing defense in particular, I'm glad you brought that up. Their passing defense under the combination of Sean Desai and Matt Patricia last year was 31st in yards per game allowed. They are 10th. And they are also, over the last 3 weeks, the number 1 team in the National Football League in pressure rate and sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the recipe for wins when you're talking about a defensive team. When you're pressuring the quarterback, obviously when you're getting some turnovers and those pressures are turning into sacks. That's something that we've talked about a lot here is we talk about that, pass rush win rate and the pressures in general, and that's good. You always want to create those pressures, but turning those pressures into that sack number and really kind of starting to make the quarterback make bad decisions, which we've seen early in the season when Trevor has been under pressure, it's gotten messy. And so they're going to take advantage of that interior this weekend, especially if Ezra doesn't play. That's going to be their focal point.
Well, as we continue to cool down, I do want to briefly segue to the NBA. I don't know if it should be world's smallest violin, tears, RJ Saunders, if you want to chime in. Paolo Banchero has a torn right oblique, in case you missed it. Even the team to the south of us in Orlando on the hardwood, Taylor Dahl, is hit by the injury bug. We thought after he dropped a 50-burger, maybe we could just, lean into the magic in 2024, 2025. We still could. Franz Wagner was still a first-team all-rookie once upon a time. He still was as underrated a first-round pick, I think, as we've seen in the NBA in the last 5 years. But yes, a budding superstar is now down for at least 4 to 6 weeks, out indefinitely, reevaluated after that time frame.
We were just talking about him too, that me, you, and ET in the office that day of talking about like the future face of the NBA, and we said his name, and then that night we get the notification that it's that. What did they say? I think RJ, when I was talking to you earlier, it was like 6 weeks is what they're expecting.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks is the calculation for them. Yeah.
So what exactly happened? He just came down weird, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it felt like he came down weird as far as the replay that I'm seeing. He just came down weird. I believe it was late in the fourth it could have been, and just a freak accident. I mean, but it's basketball. Those are things you really can't predict. But to your point, Mia, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for a guy like Franz to really show that he can step into that role when Paolo is out. I understand he's been a perfect number 2 for Paolo's number 1, but this is a great opportunity for Franz, a guy that a lot of people haven't really had high up on their list ever since the cold showing that he had against Cleveland in Game 7. So I really expect for him to really have a high usage rate while Paolo's out.
Well, how about Jalen Suggs, too? You just got paid. Now's the time to show up. And that's speaking as somebody who loved Jalen Suggs when he was at Gonzaga in college. Like, I love Jalen Suggs. I understand he is not the Paolo Banchero of, let alone that team, but also even that draft class going back to 2021. I thought his efficiency on offense would be so much higher in the NBA than it is right now. I thought he was much more of a pure shooter. He's more of a 3-and-D guy. That's okay. He is going to have to step up, though, in Banchero's absence, which Paolo did meet with reporters at shoot-around this morning, which, hey, credit to him. Credit to him for stepping out there, still being with the team. He told Jason Beede of the Orlando Sun-Sentinel, this is a great opportunity for us to come together as a group and grow even closer. Next man up, just guys stepping up, keep doing what we're doing. It's not ideal that I'm out. We do have a lot of guys that can step up, and I believe they are ready to do that.
RJ, are there any teams, obviously just 5 games in, but that have surprised you, whether it be in a good way or in a bad way?
Honestly, the Cleveland Cavaliers are undefeated to this point. They really didn't make any moves, period, during the NBA offseason. So here you were thinking that with all the other moves that are happening out east, especially with teams like the Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks, that Cleveland may be going from a top 4, top 5 seed to maybe creeping into that play-in tournament, and that's how they'll get into the NBA playoffs. But so far, only a 5-game sample size, but they do look like a strong team. Evan Mobley is a guy that's probably going to be a guy that's going to continue taking that next step. Could it be an all-star year for him? We'll see. But Donovan Mitchell really has this team, sailing in the right direction. Kenny Atkinson, being a new coach, really does a great job with young teams. We saw what he was able to do in Brooklyn when they had D'Angelo Russell as their superstar player. So All things look great for the wine and gold right now. That's definitely been my surprise team so far.
So are you saying there's a world in sports where you could run it back and things
actually
work out? I'm not subscribing to that school of thought. I'm just saying it may be working in Cleveland, at least through 5 games, folks.
Are you surprised that the Bucks are 1-4?
I am. Reason being is because the Bucks, after the All-Star break, look like one of the scariest teams in the NBA. I feel like Doc was really able to figure it out after the sudden firing of A.J. Griffin, and you bring in Doc Rivers, and it seemed that there was kind of growing pains there at first. They come out after the All-Star break, look like one of the best teams, lose to Indiana in the first round, but it really felt like maybe they have something there. And as of right now, it seems like with it being an older team, that window is closing, and maybe closing faster than they'd like to admit. I don't think the Damian Lillard trade was the best thing to do. I understand that he wanted to be in a place where he could win a championship. I just don't think the fit is there with him and Giannis. And I kind of feel bad for Giannis at this point. It really feels like he wants to have another shot at that championship, but at what expense? It really feels like you're going to have to start putting younger guys around him. So, the Bucks being 1-4 to this point is certainly an interesting thing for me.
Well, staying in the upper Midwest, Taylor, let's head on over to Chicago. Your Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus met the media a couple minutes ago. I think the press conference actually is still going on. According to our friend Courtney Cronin of ESPN, Eberflus said he would not talk about who will be starting at cornerback when asked directly whether Tyreek Stevenson would start. Of course, as most of you are familiar, the former University of Miami corner on the Hail Mary play for the Washington Commanders last week was seen for the first 6 seconds of that play waving and taunting fans as opposed to being involved in the coverage of what would prove to be the game winner for Washington. Eberflus continued, quote, "I'm not going to talk about who's going to start there at a particular spot. Again, I've talked to Tyreek. He had a really good week of practice. He's done well refocusing in. I appreciate his efforts moving into the next phase, which is Arizona."
There has been rumors that he's not going to be starting in this game. The one thing, the Bears' corner depth is so good that I'm not worried, honestly, either way. Terrell Smith and Jalen Jones both have played really, really good when they've been asked to play in Tyreek's place. Obviously, Tyreek did not play against the Jags, and you couldn't tell that their number 2 corner wasn't on the football field. So I'm not totally concerned about it, honestly. I personally am all for him not starting because you single-handed, and there was a lot of things that went into that loss, obviously. You score on the goal line, things change. You don't let Terry McLaurin get that 12-yard pass right before the Hail Mary. You win that game. So there's a lot of other factors, but at the end of the day, you directly ended up losing when you failed at, number one, not being in the spot you were supposed to, not covering the guy you were supposed to, then tipping the ball into the receiver's hands. So I'm fine, honestly, with him kind of getting this punishment a little bit because I feel like there has to be accountability for something like that.
It'll be curious to see. Again, we made our picks. Taylor Dahl, the only one who went with the Chicago Bears. Taylor Dahl and I both roll with the Arizona Cardinals. Man, oh man, can Taylor and I make up some ground in the picks? That's my biggest question. Let's say hello to the Hammer and the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Hayes Carlyon joining us in studio at 1010XL World Headquarters. The Frangie Show on deck here on the FM, Into the Night with Rick Ballou on the AM. How are you, friend?
I'm great. Great to see you guys.
Has your voice improved? The illness that has plagued you, our friend Lauren Brooks, are we feeling a little bit better?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm not going to do the show, but I figured I'd do the handoff.
Are you gonna tap out?
Just
tap out like Anthony Richardson?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the weekend has begun.
Okay.
Anytime you can do a 2-minute workday,
Perfect.
you got to feel great about that,
yeah.
right?
Just tap out like Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What a disgrace. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun Frangie show coming up. Doug Peterson will join Frank right at the top. We'll also have Pete Prisco at 5. We'll have Rafael Esparza from MyBookie to go over some of the lines and where we need to be putting our money. So A lot of fun stuff coming up on the Fringy Show. Also, Jeff Dantzler will join us to give us the Bulldogs perspective for tomorrow's cocktail party. So that'll be our Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report. So lots of fun stuff coming up on the Fringy Show.
Are you? Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, I was just we were having a conversation during the show when it comes to the Gators. Jaden Baugh and Montrell Johnson, how do you see them approaching that moving forward?
I think if Montrell's healthy, he'll be the guy because Napier is just so loyal to him.
Yeah.
But
That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
Is that the best course of action for Florida?
I mean, I like Montrell, but
I do
mean,
too.
I would definitely want Baugh to have a role in this game. I mean, the only chance Florida is going to have to beat Georgia is if one of these freshmen have a superstar performance. If DJ Lagway is able to do that, Florida will have a chance. If Baugh is able to harness some of what we saw against Kentucky, then Florida will have a chance. Montrell Johnson, we know what he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to beat Georgia. Like he's an adequate back, but he's not a special back. For Florida to beat Georgia tomorrow, they're going to need special. So, but Noah Napier, I think he'll be loyal to his veteran, and so I would think 75-25% kind of workload between those two.
Are you surprised how much the line has shifted?
I am.
A full touchdown to 14.5?
Yeah, I don't get it at all because, I mean, I think to put a true freshman, I mean, they have no choice. So I don't mean to put him out there, but to rely on DJ Lagway to handle the environment and that defense and the scheme that he's going to have to go against, I think it's going to be a long day for Florida. And it's not like an indictment of Lagway. I just think it'd be almost impossible for any true freshman to play in this environment. It's loud in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think with it being a split crowd that the crowd noise isn't really a factor. It is a factor. And so it's one of those games where when you lose momentum, it's really hard to get it back because not only can you hear the enemy cheering so loud, but your side is so quiet.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this isn't going well for us.
They're not very happy right now.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a long day for. I mean, I think they'll be competitive for maybe a half, but I would take Georgia and give the points for sure.
A loaded Frangie show coming up next with the Hammer. Hayes
Thanks so much.
Carline.
Have a great
I will
weekend.
see you on Sunday for the kickoff show here at 1010XL.
I wanted to
World
remind people,
Headquarters.
too, because the Frangie Show will be on FM from 4 to 6, but just a reminder that Rick Ballou will be on AM from 4 to 6 also. So if you are looking for the truth teller, you got to head over to the AM.
And he will have Sal Palantonio of ESPN as well as Tim Brando of Fox Sports joining him from 4 to 6 on the AM. That does it for a Sunshine Turf Friday right here on Helmets and Heels. For the absent Lauren Brooks, for producer extraordinaire RJ Saunders, our thanks again to XL Primetime for holding down the fort at the Georgia-Florida Hall of Fame luncheon for us. For Taylor Dahl, I am Mia O'Brien, and we will catch you on Monday.